Good morning, everybody. How are we doing today? It's Alex here, joined by my friend Olly Whittle. How you doing, Olly?
Yeah, very good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good today. Sun is shining down here in Poole, in Dorset, as you well know, because you're in Poole as well.
Yeah, just down the road from you. So hoping to enjoy a bit of the beach this weekend.
Yeah, been there myself already this morning. It's looking mighty fine. Not many people down there, surprisingly, but I'm sure the hordes will be descending on Dorset from this afternoon. This afternoon onwards, Dorset, Devon, Cornwall are going to get nailed, I think, because the weather's meant to be scorchio.
Yeah, it's a great spot.
It is. And where's everybody else today? Let me know. I can see people piling in to today's webinar. So let me know where you are watching from. If you're in the UK or you are further afield, let us know. As always, any questions that you got during the course of today's webinar, which is going to be on Facebook and Instagram ads, strategies to double your sales in 30 days. With Olly from Swan Social. Robin's joined us from the not so sunny Birmingham. Sunny in Cornwall, of course it is, Chris. Absolutely. You've probably got the hordes already, I reckon, down there, because I know a few people have already shut off because some of the schools have broken up. And of course, a lot of the schools are, well, so I say a lot of the pupils are doing not a whole lot at the moment.
Yeah, I know quite a few people from here who've literally got in a car this week and gone straight down to Cornwall.
Me too. Yeah, and I've got friends going to Cornwall over the weekend as well for a week or so. Yeah. So it's happening. So yeah, thank you for joining us today, everybody. Like I say, any questions, commentary, and look, opportunity to network. We'd normally be doing this in a live environment with real humans where you can see the whites of their eyes. So use the opportunity. I'm going to post up my LinkedIn. Maybe Olly wants to do the same for his. So if you'd like to connect with either of us, I'm always happy to connect with everyone. I've connected with so many people during lockdown. I'm assuming you probably have as well, haven't you, Olly, off the back of doing these every couple of weeks?
Yeah. I've had quite a lot of people actually, because I'll offer a free audit of people's Facebook ads. A lot of people have got in contact via that. Just sent out an email asking some questions or asking me to have a look. So it's been really good seeing people's businesses, like old and new, people just starting during lockdown and kind of, being able to help them, which it's been nice.
But if you had a mix of established businesses and if you had some people who've literally just started up during lockdown as well?
Yeah, real mix, like some which have previously been running ads and have been running for a few years. I'd probably say 30% of fairly well established and 70% are sort of younger, newer businesses, really? Which are just sort of dabbling with Facebook ads. Yeah, I'd say so.
That's really interesting, isn't it? Because I've felt that, and we just to let everyone know, we literally hit 150 live webinars yesterday with my podcasting webinar. 150 live webinars in 100 days, which is bonkers. It is a lot, but it has been good, and I've noticed as well a lot of the people who've been engaging with me on the webinars seem to have had younger, newer businesses than those that have been going decades, for example. So that is interesting that we are attracting that audience. So yeah, post up your connections, guys. Let us know where you're watching from as well. Robin and Chris have posted up. We are streaming live as well, so if you happen to be on the beach and you're watching this on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, then hello to you too. If you'd like to join us here live on this platform, Crowdcast, then just go to festivalofenterprise.co.uk and register your interest. You'll get a link, click on it, and you'll be here, and you can ask Olly any questions that you might have. So just to frame what we are talking about today, we're talking Facebook ad strategies to double sales in 30 days. During this session, Olly's going to be looking at the strategies behind growing sales with the ads that you're already running. Maybe let us know, are you running ads at the moment? Pop that in the chat box. If you're not, just put you're not. Because once you've launched ads and you started getting sales, Ollie's going to dive into analytics and try and get you to understand how you can spot a winning ad, how to generate more sales from them, covering how to cost effectively increase ad budgets and release new ads, these strategies. Currently growing e-commerce stores for a bunch of businesses that Ollie works with, and during a time when people are being more careful with spending. He's going to walk through how companies are currently doubling sales using their ads on Facebook in 30 days, and ones that you can implement with your own ads and hopefully replicate the success of these businesses. A bit of background to frame it. Ollie is a director of Swarm Social. He's been doing this for well over a decade now, specializing in e-commerce sales growth from Facebook and Instagram. Ads, handling budgets anywhere from £1,000 to £1 million and everything in between. So he knows what he's talking about. I've known him for quite a few years now. We're both down in Poole in Dorset. So I know that what he talks about is the truth. He's got some great experience in this sphere. They've been really popular. We've been getting loads of people on these. Probably done I'm thinking maybe this is the 6th, Ollie. I could be right, I could be wrong. Once every kind of 2 weeks, really.
Yeah, I think so. Once every 2 weeks.
Cool. So yeah, look, post up, let us know, everybody. Are you running ads at the moment? Are you not running ads? Just that we can kind of frame it. Ollie's got his presentation up. We'll take any questions as we go. If you post up your questions, I can always stop Ollie and ask them if there's something that you particularly want to know about during his presentation. You might well answer your questions during it. So just post up any questions you have with regards to your Facebook ads, Instagram ads that you're currently running, or ads that you're thinking of running, or ads you've run in the past. So I'll hand over the reins to Ollie and let you drive this presentation. Over to you, Ollie.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, Alex. Thanks to everyone who's taken their time to join me, and really hope that some of this information will be helpful and generate sales and profits for your business running these ads. So just to give you a little bit of background, what I'm about to go through is some strategies which I've been using literally over the last couple of months to help companies that I work with double their sales in 30 days. And in a couple of instances with businesses I work with, they've doubled their sales month on month since sort of January time. So these strategies are sort of very current and certainly effective if they're implemented. So hopefully it can help you guys. And I'm kind of going to go through a bit about your website as well, some of the things that you need to have in place before you run those ads, and then how to build up and scale those ads so that they become more profitable with higher sales. So yeah, let's get stuck in. Hopefully you can all see my screen okay. Right, so before we run any ads at all, a few things that need to be ready so that we're going to run the most cost-effective and most efficient ads. One is having your Facebook pixel installed on your website. And for those of you that don't know, that is a bit of code on your website that Facebook uses to understand how people are behaving on your website once they come from an ad. And then that enables you to create adverts like retargeting ads. So people who've come onto your website and not made a purchase, and also lookalike audiences, which are people that look like those that have taken an action on your website, whether that be a purchase or add to cart or visiting your website. And that can only be done once you've got that pixel installed. The link there for you is a Chrome extension to make sure that your pixel's installed, and it will show you in your Chrome whether that's running or not. Really important. Don't run any ads before that pixel is installed. Then also, is your website conversion ready? So once you're going to people onto your product page or your website, have you got things nicely laid out? Have you even got your PayPal button running correctly? Have you got your payment gateway set up? The best ad in the world is still going to break down if you've got some problems with your sales funnel. And then also, is your creative eye-catching? Have you got clear, attractive pictures or videos? Are they visual? Are they catching people's attention in the first 3 seconds if it's a video? that kind of thing. Just making sure that obviously when people scroll through their newsfeed, that your ad's standing out. And then things like, is your Facebook copy your primary text on your ad? Does it list your USPs? Things like, do you offer free shipping across all products? Do you offer free shipping if you spend over £35, for instance? Do you have a 30-day money-back guarantee? All these types of things make your ad stand out and enable trust in the person to then click through and potentially make a purchase. Quite often I see companies that they're not even running their main USPs, like free shipping, like free returns, things like that. So really important to get those in there. Again, people are just scrolling through. They're not expecting to see your ad when they're scrolling through their socials. So your text and your creative really need to stand out and have that ready before you launch any ads at all. And then also, is your infrastructure ready to scale? Do you have enough stock? If you're using a fulfillment center, are they ready to pack more? Do you have enough employees to be able to deal with the increase in sales? There's nothing worse than being able to scale up and get loads of sales, and then your infrastructure falls apart because you don't have enough packers or enough labels or anything like that. So, just be prepared for that. A nice position to be in, but nonetheless, you want it to keep it smooth. And then lastly, I'd say one of the most important things before you run any ads at all is to know your break-even point and your targeted return on ad spend. So if, for instance, the example I give is like, if you've got £10 on the product, £10 on ad spend, and £10 that you're targeting for profit, then you're looking at a 300% return on ad spend, and anything at 300 or over, you can scale on those ads. And it's really important to have that set out, because if you're spending more on ads and you're unsure on your return on ad spend, then you're not actually clear whether these are profitable ads. You don't know whether to keep them running or turn them off or add more money. So really important that you calculate that return on ad spend before you get started. So again, just before the ads launch, it's really important to know your audience. Are you targeting male, females? Are you targeting 25s and over, 45-year-old women and over? That's really important. You can keep it very broad, but if you've got a very specific product which will only suit a certain age, then try and sort of work that out. And what you do effectively is you make the job easier for Facebook. So if you left it very open, they would serve that ad to everybody and then start to understand your audience for you. But if you tell them their age, for instance, then it will only serve to that age, and you've cut out some of the work for Facebook. So ultimately saving in your testing ad budget. And then also understanding like what you think your audience is interested in. So, for instance, if they're buying some clothes, it's foods that they might be interested in, and you're creating this kind of avatar of a person with all different interests and then being able to target them individually. And you can do that by looking at some like Google keywords. Go to like Google Keyword Planner, or give you some suggestions. Facebook itself will even give you suggestions. So if you type in clothing, for instance, and then click on suggestions, it will give you a drop down. And they've actually got a lot better in terms of related terms that you could target with your ads. And then also there's Connectio, and I've put a link there. And again, you can just type in a keyword and it will give you some suggestions. So takes the pain out of trying to think of different interests which might suit your audience. And yeah, we talked about the avatar in terms of like really trying to brainstorm, I think, the person who's going to buy from you. It's not just the most obvious interests which relate to your product. It's also understanding their behaviors and the sports and things that they're interested in. Facebook's are quite advanced and quite thorough in terms of like how many interests that they offer you. So, for instance, a clothing store might actually you might target with your ads Tesco's or something like that, or even like a travel company, and those ads can actually perform very well. So you'd be surprised how sort of broad you can go. So once we're actually getting down to the ad launch itself, we've got the creative, we've kind of got the targeting, we're understanding like our return on ad spend, very important. We're actually going to build that ad now. So we're going to create a campaign, and then within that campaign, we're going to create an ad, add our creatives, and then we're going to set that to launch. I set them to launch about 4 o'clock in the morning. You'd be surprised actually how many early shoppers you get, but it then gives you a full day of spend. So don't launch your ad, for instance, at 2 p.m. because if you've set the budget at £10, for instance, you're going to get half a day and Facebook's going to try and spend that £10. So if you launch it earlier, you get a full day of spend. And also it's a better sort of analysis of how that ad has performed once you're looking at it later on. What we're going to do as well, and this is my setup, it can suit your setup or it can suit your budget, but I list out 10 individual interests. So I'll have exactly the same ad in terms of its headline, its text, its picture or video, and I duplicate that one ad set 9 times, so it's 10 in total, and each one has a single interest that I target in those ads. That works the best for me because I then understand which interests are performing, and then I can expand on those interests as we sort of go through the days or through the month of how the campaign's performing. And one really important thing to do once you've got that ad ready to go is to send yourself a test of the ad. If you, I'm not sure if you've set up ads or if you're familiar with the ads manager, but once you go through to the creative side, above the picture, there's a sort of preview in the right-hand side, and above sort of top right of that, you can send yourself a link and just test it. Test it on your phone because that's where most traffic's going to come through, and make sure that the links mainly point to the right product page or even your own website. I've made the mistake of pointing it to the wrong place before, and that's a complete waste of money. So make sure you don't do that. And then just small things like typos, and making sure also that if you're running like a carousel ad, which is the one that you flick through with like 10 different pictures, that the headline on a mobile is all you can see, read it all. So sometimes you're, you are limited by characters, and you don't want half the word cut off. So just make sure that those product names or all of the text headlines, description, everything like that fits into the boxes and just looks good, because you don't want it cut off. And then once you've launched those ads, do not touch them or edit them for 3 days. So there are some things you can do with the ad where you edit it and it doesn't affect the optimization. There's other things like changing a picture, for instance, and that will completely reset the ad. So any learning that Facebook's done, it will start again. So launch those ads and then just let them for 3 days. And sometimes it's difficult to do that because you see it spending and you don't think it's getting the results that you'd hope for, or you think it's overspending, but you've set that daily budget you're comfortable with. So I set them all at £5 per set, 10 of those. So I'm spending £50 a day, and then just leave it. So we are at 3 days later. Again, we're going to make any changes at midnight or early in the morning. Doesn't have to be 4 o'clock in the morning, but the earlier the better, because again, you get that full day of spend. We're going to look at those 10 ad sets that we created 3 days ago, all targeting one single interest, and then we're going to start making decisions on them. So we're going to turn off ads that have no sales at all and that are twice your cost per acquisition. So for instance, when we were talking about the £10 product, £10 ad cost, and £10 profit, if, for instance, an ad is at £20 ad cost and no sales, we're going to turn that off. That's not wasted. Don't think of that as a wasted ad or wasted spend, because later on we're going to retarget people using that pixel that we put in. of people who visited your website but didn't make a purchase, and they can often be the best performing ads. And then those that are performing, we're going to double budget with 5 or more sales, and that are within our return on ad spend. So where we were at 5, we're now moved that up to £10 per day, as long as we've got 5 sales. Go for 5 because it just demonstrates that the ad's starting to perform. Facebook thinks that it's found the right audience, and it's gotten a bit of a groove over the couple of days with 5 sales. If you've got no sales at all, absolutely no sales at all, then something is wrong with your ad, your links, maybe your website, your add to carts. Are people not able to make a purchase? Is your payment gateways clunky? Something is happening there that you should be getting at least 1 sale at the very, very least. Because what Facebook is actually doing is it's going to find people that think, or it'll actually, in a sense, overspend itself. It won't actually spend your money, but it's going to find lots and lots of people to get a sale for you because they want to encourage sales and they want you to spend more. So if you've got nothing, something's broken down there, and you need to go sort of further into your sales funnel. Like, are people adding items to their cart but not finalizing that purchase? That would suggest to me that you've got a high shipping cost, or people are not fully trusting website or the product to like finalize the purchase. Is your cost per click high? For an e-commerce site, it should be like 25 pence, 50 pence or so. Is it £1, £2? That means that people are not resonating with your ad, so they're not clicking through. Have a look at these types of things because you should be getting a sale, and if something wrong, if you're not. Also, you can set up a rule. So it's a bit more advanced, this, but it is really helpful in managing your budget. So you can set up a rule, for instance, if you get 0 sales and you've spent £20, turn off the ad set. And those are really handy things to be able to manage your ads and just make yourself a bit more confident that it's not going to overspend. Not that it will, because you can watch it, but it's a good rule to have in place. So we're going to go another 3 days or 6 days later. Again, making those changes late or early in the morning. And again, we're going to turn off any ads without sales, or maybe you've made 1 sale and now that cost per acquisition has gone too high. So we're going to turn off those. Then we're hoping that we've now got 10 plus sales rather than 5. And we're going to double the budgets again. And maybe some of the other ads which hadn't got to 5 now got to 5. And we're going to move those up as well. And remember, it's all about your return on ad spend. So it's not about how many clicks you've got or how many purchases you've got, because in some cases you might that have a lower number of purchases on ad set but a higher return on ad spend. So that means that people are coming in and they're buying 3 items a month, or they're spending. It's costing less to acquire them, but they're spending more on your site. So always run your analytics in terms of return on ad spend and increase it through that. So hopefully this is making sense. I know it's like it's quite analytical in a way, but it's these types of things which will really make your sales increase, really that sort of growth in the sort of 30 days. And then again, looking at turning off your ads below break even. And at the points where we're now, I'm looking at every 3 days, we're not just going to double budgets. We're going to add 20% to the daily budget, or just £10 every 3 days, once getting that return on ad spend. And what I'll do is change the asset name. So where we've named it, with each interest, we'll also put a date next to it each time we change it, so that we know, oh, I only changed it yesterday, so I won't have any more budget today, even though it's performing well. And this will really help you scale. And it's just a matter of checking that data, checking the analytics of the ads manager, and being quite disciplined as well, and not turning things off too early, and also on the flip side, not adding more money or higher budgets when you haven't actually given it a chance to optimize on the increased ad spend. And one thing you definitely don't want to do is be thinking that you've got a great ad performing really well, lots of sales, it's coming in at 10, 20 pounds a day, and you think, right, if I chuck in 100 or 200 pounds a day, it's going to perform at the same. It won't do that. It's almost a bit of a shock to the system. Facebook doesn't quite stand so quickly that it's got to go from £10 to like £200 a day, and it's a much wider audience that it's suddenly doing that ad to. So, you know, on your £10 a day, if you've got a million audience, for instance, it will just show that ad to a pocket of people. If you suddenly go from one extreme to the other and you know, use £200 a day daily budget, it's got a much bigger pocket of people that it could show that ad to, and the jump is a bit of it's too quick a learning curve for Facebook. So try not to do that, even though you know, you might be tempted thinking that this ad's performing so well, I chuck more money on it, it'll do the same. It doesn't do that. You need to increase slowly. And then in terms of the interests themselves, so what we're seeing is we're adding more budget to the interests which are doing well. We know which interests those are because we've named the ad set after that interest. And then we're going to start looking at expanding from there. So from that particular interest, what are related interests that I can launch new ads from? And as I say, Facebook suggestions is pretty strong at the moment. So, you know, it just gives you a drop down of related terms. And at the moment, I've actually just been using the top sort of 3 or 4 interests that it suggests and making new ads out of them. And then just running those and seeing how they perform. And remember to change the ad set date with every edit that you make. Then we're sort of coming towards the end of that 30 days. At the moment, we've been expanding on the budgets themselves and expanding on the interests. So we've got quite a few potential ads running. You know, we've got the budget starting to increase. We've also turned off some ads that are underperforming, that either got no sales or got some sales, and they're below the return on ad spend that we were targeting. And at the same time, we're starting to get a really strong data on that pixel. So that pixel is starting to understand on its own effectively, because it's understanding the type of audience that's purchasing on your website, who other customers might be. So we're going to start asking it to look at, they're called lookalike audiences, and that's based on your database that you've either had before or you've now generated from those sales. So we're going to upload that data in terms of people's names and their email addresses, upload that data into Facebook and ask Facebook, can you go and find people who look like my customers and serve this ad to people who are similar? And that might be people who are similar in terms of like location, age, interest, other Facebook pages they like, other purchases that they've made through Facebook ads. And then likewise, with the pixel itself, we're going to say, go and find people who look like the purchases that have come through tracked via the Facebook pixel. And we can also do that with people who have visited the website, go and find people who look like the traffic that I've generated from my ads. And you're starting to get Facebook to do some of the work for you. So early on, we were looking at interests and we were kind of asking Facebook to go and find people who had an interest in a topic. Now we're basing those ads on people who have taken action on your website and who look like those people. And also we can start looking at like testing new creative. So what we don't want to do is just keep serving the same ads to people and the same copy for weeks or months. I typically find after about 3 months, maybe 3 months or so, people start to get a bit bored of the same ad with the same video with the same headline, start looking at mixing that up. but use your best interest, and you can change the copy, the headline, the video, the pictures, and serve that ad to the same best performing ads. So what you're hoping to do is just find another pocket of people, and also people who saw your previous ad but may have not resonated with it, but resonate with the second one. So don't just think that because that best interest is already performing, you should find someone else. Actually serve your new creative and copy to that same interest, and hoping that they'll then convert. So yeah, we've got there. We're at the end of 30 days. Hopefully your sales have increased. You've got your return on ad spend that you're keeping to. After 30 days, what you want to be looking at is return on ad spend is within your target or as close to as possible. Sales have at least doubled, depending on where you are, where you started. But certainly if you're scaling every sort of 3 days or 6 days, you should definitely be doubling sales. Obviously, sales are only good if they're within your return on ad spend. So there's no point in doubling your sales, but you haven't been able to keep the return on ad spend, and you've generated enough data for your purchases for those stronger lookalikes going into the forthcoming months. So you might find that some of your ads that you started off with are all interest ads, and then from there on, in your sort of second or third month, they're all lookalike targeting because of the data that you've generated. Actually, at the moment, I'm seeing the interest ones are working best, but Facebook changes all the time. And I would say 6 months ago, it was the lookalike audiences which were the best performers, and it was really difficult to get sales via cold interest. And then just to finish off completely, and hopefully, as I say, it's been helpful and hopefully not too complicated, because it does sound more complicated than it actually is. And it is literally just increasing those budgets and checking the data and increasing those budgets. And it's literally what is in these slides as what I've used to help a company grow from, I think they were doing £30,000 turnover in February. They're now doing £250,000 turnover using this, nothing else. This is what I've used. And obviously the key to it all is just to make it profitable. Otherwise, there's not a lot of, that's the aim of the game, isn't it? And those 2 points at the top there within your return on ad spend and sales doubling is what's going to make you profitable. So hopefully that was of some interest. I have got a free audit there, so I've got a link you can click through, and I'm happy. I've been really happy to help people in the past on other webinars, just going through their ads, or some people who haven't even started and just sort of making some suggestions on where they can start or where some ads are underperforming. So feel free to get in contact, send me an email. I'd be happy to help. And hopefully some of that was helpful. I know it's quick. I know it sounds complicated, but it doesn't need to be if you can just follow those steps.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's like anything in life, isn't it? As soon as you think it's getting complicated, you're doing something wrong, because it shouldn't be that way. For those of you listening to this on the podcast, I'm just going to read out. So it's Olly, Olly, at swarmsocial.co.uk. That's swarmsocial.co.uk. Exactly as it sounds, Olly at swarmsocial.co.uk. And you can get a free audit by going to swarmsocial.co.uk/1865-2/. So get in touch if you'd like. We've got a couple of questions, and we've also got people, I've just had a look, got people watching on Facebook live. I haven't had a chance to look at Twitter or YouTube, but I know we've got people watching this live as well on social media. Right. Thank you very much indeed. So yeah, there's going to be a few different camps, so to speak, aren't there, Olly? People who've run ads before, with businesses who've got history of running ads, and that history could have been altered, of course, during the last 100 days or so. Do you think Facebook, other social media platforms, the algorithms have gone into a bit of a spin, and they're kind of doubting themselves over the last 100 days? They're trying to recalibrate?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, the Facebook algorithm itself is completely confused. So, I've actually got a Facebook rep at Facebook, and they're kind of been explaining to me what's happening. And what they're saying is that they're getting the traffic of Black Friday, which is their best day of the year. But initially, in the first month or so of lockdown, or the first couple of weeks, getting the sales of the first week of January, and very few people make purchases. That started to change, but what is changing is really unusual. So where Facebook's algorithm understands that, okay, people buy flip-flops in summer, and they buy slippers in winter, they understand how people behave, and they serve the ads and work accordingly. That's all been flipped on its head. So people are buying slippers at the moment instead of summer shoes, and they're buying, bike sales and fitness gear and puzzles. Apparently, the biggest seller that Facebook was seeing was outdoor trampolines. All these kinds of things, which, okay, you only buy an outdoor trampoline for summer, but not necessarily the volumes. So it's a bit confusing about what people are doing, because people are doing such unusual things at the moment. And I'm seeing real sort of yo-yo at the moment. So suddenly you think, oh, okay, I know what's happening now. And your ads are performing at a certain level, or you're selling certain types of products, and then that will change literally overnight. So when everyone went to that beach on the first weekend, saw a lot of e-commerce sites get hit just for a 4-day spell, because no one spent anything online. They were all just buying beach gear, or or just ice cream, whatever. It was a real mess that weekend. So I think things start settling out. It's definitely taken a hit.
Yeah. A couple of questions which I'll move on to. So thank you, Chris. Thank you, Robin, for your questions, which I'll position to Olly now. And anyone else got a question, I'll have a quick look on social as well. But post them up here if you can. We've still got a little bit of time to dig in. So Chris says, what's the best way to launch a brand with ads that have no previous Facebook history? Really good question, Chris. What type of ads are best to start off with?
Yeah, okay. So I've actually done this a couple of times, literally in the last month or so, because businesses that I've spoken to have literally had to change their business model overnight. They were doing wholesale, now they're doing direct to customer. So it's very possible to do it, and their ads are running pretty well at the moment. In terms of what type of ads are the to start off with, definitely put together, doesn't have to be high budget, a 1-minute video. So on that video, in the first 3 seconds, get your main URL out there so you can see the product in action, and then run a video with different clips of things that it does, people using it, have subtitles, listing the USPs, listing how what problem it solves, how it can help you, the USPs of the company, free shipping, stuff like that, or free shipping over £40, £100, whatever it be. The beauty of video is that Facebook really like video content, so they'll almost give you an extra push onto the platform and onto people's news feeds. And beyond that, it's much easier to retarget people who have watched 25%, 95% of that video but not made a purchase, or lookalike audiences. So if you're literally starting from scratch, I would definitely say a video. If you're not able to do a video, then just really do lifestyle images of people actually using your product, and put that into a carousel, and then do the strategy that I set out, 10 different interests, £5 with each interest, and then sort of run through the rest steps. But I have done that quite a few times recently, and that's what's been working for me.
Awesome. Robin's couple of questions. Where is best to start looking if you've got good levels of traffic coming to the site but low conversion rates?
So if you've got good levels of traffic coming to your site but low conversion rates, okay, so you know, without seeing the website, or like I'm just drawing on my experience of what's happened in the past, and this might not be the case, but hopefully it's helpful, is that people may not fully trust the website. So they may be coming onto the website, they've seen the ad, it might be something that they're interested in, but they just not quite ready to make that purchase. That might be two things. It might be sort of the ticket price is lower, so let's say like £30 or something like that, but they're not quite willing to take that punt. They're not quite sure about the, you know, have you got reviews, how have you set the website up, and then secondly, it might be a really high ticket, so it might be like £200, or let's say it's even over £50. People need more warming up. Like over £50 is not an impulse purchase. So you might be getting high level of traffic because people need to come back 2 or 3 times before they're happy to make the purchase. They may want to go elsewhere, do a price comparison, for instance. So yeah, there might be a couple of things going there. So yeah, I don't know the website, so it's a bit harder, but there's some suggestions anyway.
Thanks. Yeah, Carol
I've thought of one more thing. Sorry, as well. It's also how the ad is set up. So if you're actually, again, this is a bit of guesswork, but if you set up the ad as a traffic ad, then Facebook is finding people that are just clicking onto a website and not taking action. Is that pixel installed, and is your advert optimized for a conversion? So you're asking Facebook to go and find people who make a purchase. So that might be how you set up the ad as well, potentially.
Cool. Thank you. Carol says, sorry, I missed the beginning of this session. Can I get a recording somewhere, please? Yes, Carol, literally as soon as I hit end broadcast, in a couple of minutes, this is going to be available on replay here on Crowdcast, and also you can, and it goes to anyone listening on the audio for this, you can go and watch this on our Facebook, Festival of Enterprise Facebook page, Twitter page, YouTube channel as well, and watch Olly talk through it. Thanks so much. It sounds very interesting. It is. It absolutely is. It's super interesting. Robin, thanks. Olly, Chris, thanks. Another question. Do you tend to find more creative or informative ad campaigns work best? And I guess, Olly, that depends on what your products and services are and how your audience consumes your products and services. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would actually say probably say informative. So what I'm assuming by creative is like a video with sort of all the bells and whistles and lovely graphics and, you know, that kind of thing, if I understand correctly. You know, that doesn't really matter, to be honest. I've done plenty of films, videos that are all filmed on my iPhone and just have some overlaying text and subtitles. It's literally getting the product in front of people and showing them the USPs and what problem it's solving immediately, and then kind of walking through the rest of the USPs and how it's going to help and about your company. So certainly informative, I would say.
Very good. Very good. Thank you very much, everybody. Any other questions? Post them up. I just had a quick look on social. People still watching on there as well. Just double checking I haven't missed anything as well. So thank you, Robin. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Carol. Got caught on a Zoom call. No worries at all. Like I say, this replay is available, and we're putting it out on the podcast as well, so you can listen to it via audio. Any just to finish up, maybe, Olly, because this is a nice, succinct, concise time scale. We're just coming up to 50 minutes. So I think anything that kind of fits in under an hour when we do the intros and the outros is always good. But any kind of learnings from yourself over the last 100 days that you've taken on board?
So yeah, things that I've kind of learned over the last 100 days, probably one, you got to act quick. So in terms of companies that I've been working with and some of my own e-commerce stores, because the norms got completely thrown out of the window, you had to learn to sort of move very quickly, whether it be sourcing new products, selling new products, you know, just being able to maneuver. So I would say that was really important. And I saw companies who thought that it was almost just going to go away and they could continue selling the things they were, and that just wasn't the case. So just being flexible. Secondly, I would say also it's really important to be like sensitive to your audience. So, you know, you are trying to connect with an audience because they don't know your ads coming as they flick through their newsfeed. So, you know, talking about the situation that's going on, trying to connect with those people so that they do click through and hopefully make a purchase. You know, there was a clothing company, they were a boating clothing company, and they were still running ads saying, we're boat ready, are you? And it was just such an insensitive headline because obviously no one was, everyone's stuck in their house. And there was no connection with this brand. So it was kind of, you know, I had to go through most of the ads that I was running and change all of the copy. Sometimes I had to like redo videos because it had stuff in there like, you know, we're all ready, you know, sort of pre-summer, we're all ready for the beach, you know, have you got such and such, you know, looking forward to, you know, sitting on the beach, and that just wasn't appropriate. So I think the two things, probably moving fast and also, you know, being willing or able to change and resonate and connect with your audience rather than just sticking your head in the sand, which some big companies were doing. Shockingly, some really big companies were doing. They were far too slow to move on it.
Yeah, like the context just hadn't changed, hadn't it? Like the narrative hadn't changed on their marketing at all. Yeah. Really interesting, and I think that's, you know, the benefit, isn't it, of being, you know, a startup or a scale up is, you know, having that whole agile mentality and being lean, being able to turn things around quickly. Where, you know, these big companies take months to actually make a decision and then turn anything around.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it sounds really insensitive to say, but in terms of pure business. There are some companies that did, you know, exceptionally well over the last few months, and it does sound bad saying that, but you know, they moved quickly, and also they changed their messaging, and you know, I know there was a lot of companies that were really struggling and stuff like that, but there were, you know, there was also a lot of opportunity there, and it was just being able to jump on that, and you know, ultimately you're keeping your business alive, and you're keeping your, you know, your bills paid. So, you know, it needs to be done, and it was those people which kind of jumped on it, which, you know, have come out the other end of it. And I think the whole landscape's changed anyway. You know, particularly I sell some products that are like 45-year-olds and over, and then they're not going to go back to the shops for a long time. So, you know, they will be continuing to buy online. So, you know, it's understanding how the behavior's changed as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it has, and it's gonna change again, no doubt, as things continue to change. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm literally just talking and typing at the same time. So just posted up Olly's email. I've just posted up his free audit as well. And those of you listening, it's swarmsocial.co.uk/1865-2/ and you can get in touch with Olly at swarmsocial.co.uk via email, or it's Olly Whittle on LinkedIn, etc. So look, that's it. We're coming up to the hour. Perfect timing. Thank you very much indeed. Again, Olly, clearly people are still very interested in how they can, adapt their marketing, how they can, increase their sales. And it's good to get those kind of tips with regards to context, what's working, what's not working. Super helpful no matter what stage of business you are. It's worth looking at everything in a new light, whether it be that how you work, where you work, what your marketing looks like, what your HR work looks like, etc. There's never been a better time. We've literally just hit 6 months of the year, haven't we? We've still got 6 months of the year to go, and we can achieve a hell of a lot. It's a great time to do, an audit on your business, and you might as well do it on your marketing at the same time. So, look, thank you very much indeed, buddy. Appreciate your time as always.
No, thank you for everyone who turned up today, and hope everyone has a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. Have a good weekend, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Cheers.
Bye now. And replay is coming live, folks. Now be recalibrated in about 10 seconds for you. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy your Friday. Thank you all very much indeed. Bye-bye.